Hi, my name is Leah Day. Last month's Quilty Box included yarn and a crochet hook, so I've decided to share a fun video on making a granny square. This was one of the very first things that I ever learned how to crochet, and I really wish that I had a video to follow along back then. So let's get started learning how to crochet a granny square. So to get started, I've got some yarn and a crochet hook, and I am working with a size I crochet hook, and this is just some 100% cotton yarn, and it's just in a solid color. I can't emphasize enough, it's really important when you're first learning any knitting, crochet, anything, use a solid color rather than anything variegated. That can be really confusing. Also, use something that's like this, that's very solid and secure. If it's real fluffy and tufty, you're not going to know what you're doing. Okay, so let's start with a slip knot. What I do is I make a loop with the tail end on top. Then I'm going to make a second loop with that tail and pass it up through the first loop. Now I tug on the yarn on this side and that will tighten up a slip knot. And a slip knot's important here because you can tug on that tail and tighten it up. And that's important because we'll want to be able to control that as we are crocheting. Okay, so I'm going to insert my hook into that loop, and that becomes the first loop on our hook. And we're going to need to learn 3 stitches while we make our granny square. We're going to need to learn how to chain, to slip stitch, and double crochet. So the first thing we're going to learn is to chain. And what you do is you just take your hook, grab the yarn, and pull through. That's 1 chain. So now I'm going to do that 5 times. Grab the yarn, pull through. Grab the yarn, pull through. So that's 3 chains. Grab the yarn and pull through. And 1 more time. It's important to kind of keep a count of this. Some patterns will have you chaining quite a lot, and it can get really tedious to have to count once if you miscount. So the nice thing about a granny square is you don't have to do a lot of counting. All right, so that is 5 chains here in a row, and now I want to turn this into a loop, into a center circle for my granny square, and we do that with a slip stitch. So I'm going to insert my hook into the first chain, and what you'll notice is there's little holes in a chain. So you've got kind of 2 loops, 2 pieces of yarn at the top, 1 piece of yarn at the bottom, and it kind of creates a little hole in the chain. What I'm going to do is go right through that hole. I'm going to grab my yarn, and pull through both the starting chain and the last loop on my hook. And that is a slip stitch where you just pull through everything. You pull through both things at once. So that looks good, and I've got this nice loop, and that's going to be the base of my granny square. I'm going to call this the loop or the center circle throughout this video. So I think this looks good. Now this tail is kind of in my way. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to set it against the chain, and I'm going to just stitch with it all around, and then I'll be able to clip off that thread tail so it's secure. Okay, so now I want to double crochet into this center circle. We do that first by chaining. I'm going to chain 1, 2, 3 times, and I do that to get up to the height because a double crochet is kind of a tall stitch. And it's tall because it has multiple loops on your hook. So what we're going to do is yarn over. That means you just take the yarn and wrap it around the hook 1 time. You're going to go into the center circle, and then you're going to pull up a loop. So you have 3 loops on your chain, on your hook. 3 loops. Now you're going to grab the thread again and pull through 2. Grab the yarn again and pull through the other 2. So let's do that again. We're going to yarn over, go into the center circle, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. So now we have the equivalent of 3 double crochets. I know that this starting was just 3 chains, but that is counted as your first double crochet. Okay, so now we're going to go into the corner. In order to make a granny square, we need to have a square. So we're going to make the first corner. We're going to do that by chaining. We're going to chain 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we're going to return to our double crochet. Yarn over, insert into the center circle, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, and pull through 2. Notice how much that I use my hook hand. I'm not doing a lot of manipulation over here with my yarn hand. I'm doing most of this work with my hook hand, and I really want you to focus on that. If you don't have a lot of hook skills, really be using that, manipulating it around. You were once pretty uncoordinated with a fork too, so just remember that. You got to get it comfortable. And you do that by keeping it in your hand and finding a comfortable position. Okay, so I just did another double crochet. Now I'm going to do a third double crochet. And you'll start to see a pattern emerges here. So we've got 3 double crochets and we've got 1 corner. It's starting to kind of look like a square. So now I'm going to make another corner. I'm going to chain 1, 2, 3. Okay, and again, double crochet. I'm going to double crochet 3 times in a row. So yarn over, go in, pull through 2, pull through 2. Yarn over, go into the center circle, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2. Yarn over, into the center circle, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2. And you can see that as I've stitched around, I have also stitched my thread tail, and it's kind of just encased in those stitches, and now I can just clip it off, which is so nice because now it's not in my way anymore. Okay, so at this point we have 2 corners, 3 sets of double crochet. I'm going to turn another corner. So I chain 1, 2, 3. And what do you think we do next? 3 more double crochet into this area. So I'm going to yarn over, pull up, pull through 2, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. And you're always working into that center circle for this first run. Okay, so now we've got 3 corners and our 3 sides. The sides are created with the double crochet. So now I need to turn that last corner. I do that by doing 3 chains. 1, 2, 3. And now I'm going to slip stitch into the top of that first set of 3 chains. What I'm going to do, there's just a little loop right here where the top of that yarn comes around. I'm going to insert my hook right there. I'm going to pull up. I loop straight through that and then straight through the loop that was on my hook. Let me show you that slip stitch one more time. I'm going to pick it out. I still have 3 chains on my hook coming from that double crochet. I'm going to insert my hook into that loop, pull up the yarn through that loop and through the loop on my hook. So that completes the first row. Now to start the second row, I'm going to slip stitch over to get to this corner. I really like to start in a corner. You could also just flip your work if you wanted to. I kind of like to keep it in one side, so I'm just going to insert my hook and pull through the loop, insert my hook, and pull right through the loop that was on my hook. Now I'm pretty much, yep, I'm in that corner now. So it's just 3 slip stitches to get over, and now I'm going to chain 3. It's going to get me to the height that I need for my double crochet. So I start 2 more double crochet into this area. Remember, we always work in sets of 3, but whenever we're getting started, that set of chain 3 will work as 1 double crochet. It's basically the same thing. We're counting that equals that. They're the same thing. Okay, so I've got 1 started. What do? This is looking kind of funky. I need to turn a corner. So I'm going to chain 3. And now I'm going to do 3 more double crochet into the same corner space. When I first made a granny square, the very first time I did it, it was a complete mess. I actually made several complete messes of granny squares, and the reason was I just couldn't visualize what it was supposed to look like. And I could not get the concept of corners and sides. Really, that was the biggest struggle. Okay, so there's my corner. That's looking a little bit better now. And I need to get to this corner. But we have this double crochet here, but this is so wide, it kind of looks like we don't really need to do anything to get from one corner to the other. And that's exactly right. We're not going to do any stitches, anything extra. We're just going to immediately go into double crocheting a set of 3 into the next corner. Always think in sets of 3. That's the thing that's so relaxing about this, is once you memorize it, you'll never forget it. Okay, we've got our set of 3. Now we need to turn the corner. That means 3 chains. And then what do we do next? 3 more double crochet. Okay, things are starting to look a little bit more shapely. And you can see again, I've got double crochet here, I've got a corner here. This is a side. I don't need a chain, I don't need to do anything. I can just go straight into that next corner. All right, got my double crochets in the corner. Now I'm going to chain to turn the corner. 1, 2, and 3. And now I start my double crochet for this side. So the number one thing that I found when teaching anyone how to make a granny square, the number one thing that was confusing is when to do chaining. And there's a very easy way of staying on track with that, and that is to ask yourself, am I on a side or am I on a corner? If you are on a side, then you don't do any chaining between the sets of double crochet. If you are on a corner and you are turning that corner, that's when you need a set of 3 chain. There we go. So right now, what do I do? Well, I just finished a side and I need to get over here, but if I went straight into it, I would kind of have some kind of weird curve looking thing, so I need to turn a corner. Chain 3. And go straight into it. And that's 3 double crochet. Okay, so now we have this side where we have the double crochet where we started and the double crochet where we ended. In order to connect them together, we're just going to slip stitch again. So we always finish a row with a slip stitch. So I'm going to insert my hook in the top of that 3rd chain where we started. I'm going to bring my thread through that loop and through the loop on my hook. Okay, so now I have a 2-row granny square. This looks really, really good. And here's the deal. You can continue to expand this as big as you want over and over and over again. And all you have to do is simply remember 3 double crochet, go into the sides, into the side spaces. To turn a corner, you do a chain 3. So to start, I would go in and slip stitch over to get to this corner. I put 3 double crochet, chain 3, 3 double crochet. That would get me around the corner. Now working the side, I don't need to put any chaining. I just need to go straight into 3 double crochet. Then again, 3 double crochet, 3 chain, 3 double crochet, 3 double crochet, 3 double crochet, chain 3, 3 double crochet, 3 double crochet, 3 double crochet, chain 3, 3 double crochet, and then I'll get back right here, 3 double crochet, and slip stitch back. So it's really that simple. So that's it for this granny square. Follow these steps, keep expanding the square, and you can make an entire blanket out of one single square. It takes a lot of time. Or you could make lots of little squares and put them together, kind of like a patchwork quilt. Speaking of quilting, if you're interested in learning more about quilting, crafting, and everything in between, definitely check out leahday.com. That's my website where I share hundreds of videos on everything under the sun. So check it out. Don't forget to subscribe to these videos so you don't miss out on more fun crafting, creative, quilting videos every week. Until next time, let's go quilt.